In FlexSim, a label is a means of assigning data or information to flow items, tokens, or 3D objects in your model. Labels enable you to create distinctions between entities, so that you can dynamically control how your model operates. For example, you can use labels to make decisions based on the object type, to record statistics for items that flow through a specific part of the process, or to restrict how a token operates. Once applied, labels are an important component of building the logic of a model. A label has three elements that need to be considered. The label owner is the flow item, token, or 3D object that the label is assigned to. In this example, the owner is the box. The label name is a descriptor for the type of information the label includes, and should be easily identifiable. In this example, there are three labels: type, weight, and serial number. As a best practice, do not include spaces in label names. Keep label names short and recognizable, and begin labels with a capital letter. Following these recommendations makes it easier to reference labels in your model. Additionally, FlexSim prioritizes capitalized attributes, which means that labels with capital letters appear first in autofill options. Finally, the label value is the information, or the actual data point that you are storing. In this example, the type of the box is set to a numerical integer of 1. Other boxes might be labeled with a 2 or 3 to differentiate between types. Here, notice that the weight label is not set to a specific unit, and might refer to pounds, ounces, or kilograms. It is up to you to determine how you will use and interpret labels in the logic and statistics of your model, so you can set the label up in any way that makes sense to you. Lastly, the serial number in this example is a set of alphanumeric characters, or a string. Labels can include text, numbers, strings, references to other objects, and other types of data. Next, review how to apply a label. In the model shown, items enter through the source into Q1. Then the operator takes them to the processor. Here, 60% of the items are set to flow to the sink, and 40% of the items will travel back to the queue for rework. Watch as the model is run. In this example, there is no way to record the items that return to the queue. To solve this issue, you can use a trigger that sets a label based on the path of the item. In the model, select Processor 1. In Properties, under Triggers, click Add a new trigger, and select on Exit. Click Add/Edit this trigger's operations. Then select Data, Set Label. In the Set Label properties, set the object you are assigning the trigger to. In this case, the item. Next, give the label a name. Here, Rework State. Then, assign a value. In this case, Port. This label is set to equal the port that the item flows to, 1 or 2. Reset and run the model. As you encounter an item that requires rework, stop the simulation. Then, in the model, click the item. In Properties, under Labels, note that the item has a rework state label of 2. Run the model again, and select the item when it finishes reprocessing. The label is reassigned a 1, because the item now flows to port 1, the sink. In this example, you can now gather statistics using the label. Select the dashboard pane, where a table displays the total output of the objects. In the library, under Output, select Output by type. Select the bar chart. Then drag and drop it onto the dashboard. In Properties, under Objects, click the sampler, and in the model, select the processor. Then, change the type label to Rework State to differentiate by this label. Note that this field is case-sensitive and needs to match the label name exactly. You can verify the label name under Triggers in the Set Label Properties. Back in the bar chart properties, leave the remaining selections set to the defaults. Reset and run the simulation. Now, the model uses the label to record how many items travel via port 1 and port 2. If you speed the model up, you can see that the bar chart more clearly displays the expected 60-40 split between ports 1 and 2. Labels are a means of assigning data that helps to differentiate objects, tokens, and flow items in your model, allowing you to effectively build model logic and to gather meaningful statistics to evaluate your model.